In the United States, the newspaper industry is in turmoil. Many companies are in bankruptcy at the moment, and some of them are starting to emerge from bankruptcy. Their biggest fault was, even though the advertising market collapsed, that wasn't the main reason why they went into bankruptcy. The main reason was because they were riddled with debt, most of them. And that kind of contributed, once the cash flow slowed down to a near halt, because the advertising economy dropped, their debt problem, they could not pay back their debt, and they became in a very dangerous position, and many of them collapsed because of that. So when you ask what the worst thing that they're facing is definitely their debt issue. Once they solve their debt issue, and many of them are starting to do so, then they're going to start to see recovery. Some of them will never see recovery, and they will fail. They will maybe never emerge from bankruptcy. So so I think that there's hope, and I don't want to paint a picture that there is no hope, but I think that will emerge in the next years a different kind of industry in the United States, which is the largest newspaper market in the world in terms of advertising and circulation. So it's important to note that it's very important what happens here with this newspaper industry in the United States, because frequently other countries follow the lead. Thankfully, the closest market in the profile to the United States would be Northern Europe, the countries of Northern Europe, the United Kingdom, Scandinavian countries, for example, Germany. They have not experienced the debt problem that we have in the United States, so therefore they're in much better shape than we have been in the United States, and that's very good news. That being said, there are still major problems due to the advertising crisis. It has, has not returned back to the normal trajectory that we've been experiencing in the last years of newspaper advertising at least holding steady or going up. On the contrary, we're still seeing declines. And if you believe PricewaterhouseCoopers, for example, it will continue to decline over the next years. So the newspaper industry will have to find new ways to do their business with new kinds of revenues that are outside the realm of print advertising and circulation revenue. According to our study, there are a variety of businesses, and I do believe that there won't be one silver bullet to help this newspaper industry recover in the places where it is failing. There needs to be a variety of businesses, and we could call that a long tail strategy. So create new businesses in print and in digital, piece them together in a mosaic fashion or in a long tail fashion, so that there are multiple businesses, some of which in an economic crisis will do poorly and some of them might survive, but together you'll have some combined revenue that you never had before, in addition to the revenues that will continue to represent the largest portion of your revenues, being print advertising and circulation revenues, but will supplement it so that if you do lose money in those traditional areas, those supplementary revenues will help keep the overall picture solvent. If you again believe PricewaterhouseCoopers or Zenith Optimedia, which we partner with for projected revenue statistics, we're going to have still a tough road ahead in the next 3 years, at least. Now, those numbers are revised heavily by both of those research companies every year because they know that the media market is very volatile. But that being said, in the next 5 years, newspaper companies can reinvent themselves by adding new revenue streams and bolstering their overall revenue picture, and not just relying on the old revenue streams, which are failing and probably aren't going to come back, at least not 100%.